I would like to say a few words about why we decided to honor Helen. Even though she's not here, just so that you know why we wanted her as our honoree. In July of 2001, Helen began her term as the first woman president of the Rotary Club of New York. Of course, 2 months later, on 9/11, New York experienced a terrorist attack which left us all shocked with disbelief. Helen knew that she had to mobilize her club to support survivors, to support families of those who lost their lives, and also rescue workers and agencies in this very terrible time. Under Helen's leadership, the club raised $1.4 million in aid. This is absolutely unbelievable. During which time, Helen also guided her club members in hands-on rescue efforts. We have a gift that we will give Helen when we see her, and I'd like, this is a clock. In the background is the motif of the world, and it says, presented to Helen Reisler by the Brooklyn Bridge Rotary Club, October 29, 2011, in recognition of service above self. And no one could deserve it more.
For the Rotary Club of New York, September 11th will always be a day where the mourning for lives that were lost is intertwined with a sense of pride. I would like to share with you the story of one Rotary Club that in a time of crisis kept the promise of service above self, and with the help of Rotarians from around the world, fulfilled the future theme of building communities and bridging continents. Every one of us lost someone that day, either directly or indirectly. A spouse, a child, a relative, a neighbor, a coworker, etc., etc. The 23 police officers and 343 firefighters who lost their lives included some of the very heroes that my club, the Rotary Club of New York, had honored during the years on our special recognition days. In fact, just a few months previously, Fire Commissioner Bill Feehan sat next to me on the dais, and we chatted as he awaited his introduction as our speaker. He was killed when one of the towers collapsed on him. It was very close to home. As the rest of the world watched this scenario on their TV screens, confined to a little square area, we lived it and felt the enormity of this horrendous disaster as we choked on the smoke from that horrible black cloud and watched the haunted faces of those walking aimlessly around looking for loved ones. It was the only Tuesday meeting I missed that year, and I never felt so alone and isolated. Then I remembered my computer, and I turned it on. And that's when it happened, when the whole beautiful world of Rotary seemed to fall right into my room, and the main focus of my year was formed. It became clear to me that we, who were so used to addressing disasters in other countries, would now have to turn our attention to our own city. The screen was covered with hundreds of emails from Rotary presidents and Rotarians all over the world. England, Germany, South Africa, Ireland, Israel, Lebanon, Norway, all of our own states. They kept coming and coming. It went on and on for months. I have numerous loose leaves that contain hundreds of those emails from almost every country in the world. The second day, I realized that they were sending checks to me. I managed to get through to our foundation chairman and advised him to go immediately to the bank to open up a separate 9/11 disaster relief fund account. I can tell you that I never felt alone again, and that disaster fund grew to over $1.4 million. An amazing contribution came in the form of 2 district governors from Kansas City who flew in just to hand us, at the microphone, a velvet pouch which contained a bunch of checks totaling $97,500, donated by some wonderful Rotarians. This was the result of a fundraising effort they established called Missouri for New York. Our spirits were lifted again when we received a check of $100,000, accompanied by a warm, empathetic letter from the Rotary Club of Oklahoma City. Half was from the unused portion of their own disaster fund, and the other half from their members. So many cared about us and gave so generously of their time and their hearts. Many flew in just to show their support at our meetings. It was truly amazing. Individual members raced down to the pit to offer their services by using their individual skills. The December Rotarian magazine highlighted our involvement in a 6-page article entitled Ground Zero. Clarence Plummer, who owned a courier service, used his truck to deliver bottled water and food to the site each day. Cindy Erickson, CEO of the New York Lung Association, delivered 5,000 pairs of gloves and masks to the rescue workers and assisted with respiratory problems. Dr. Jeff Burks, our forensic dentist, actually identified hundreds of victims through DNA. Bill DeLong, our 82-year-old and a former waiter, helped the Salvation Army serve food. We did grief counseling, crisis managing, and ran a soup kitchen. The group of foster children who we cared for and taught to play the violin were an important part of many memorial services. And the funerals, some with empty coffins, they seemed unending. We attended as many as possible to support the families and to stand in for all the firefighters who were constantly digging for remains down the pit. Some of our members gave all of their time away from their businesses those first couple of weeks. Some gave half a day or a couple of days a week. Some came down after work, but Ground Zero was the priority. There was no doubt about that. The beauty of this horrible year was that our club responded spontaneously to a necessary call to action. We did it by forming a solid bond of unity between our own members and the rest of the amazing Rotary world. Our meeting room was fully packed every week as we bonded together. Nobody ran away, and we were a haven of inspiration for many visitors. Yet somehow, we still managed to carry on our other projects and activities, but with more spirit than ever. Paul Harris, our founder, said it best when he stated, "Rotary takes ordinary men and women and gives them extraordinary opportunities to do more with their lives than they ever dreamed possible." Thank you.